Hello everyone. In the previous episode, we told you about the emotional reunion between Yaakov and Yosef and how Yaakov settled with his family in Egypt. Yaakov lived in Egypt for 17 years. Yaakov was the first sick person in the world. Until Yaakov, anyone who sneezed would die. Yaakov asked Hashem to do it gradually so that a person could prepare and bless his sons. Hashem said to Yaakov, "You will be the first." Yaakov felt that he was about to leave this world. He called Yosef and said to him, "Please do not bury me in Egypt. Take me to the land of Canaan, where I want to be buried next to my ancestors." Yosef promised his father that he would fulfill his request and bowed towards the head of the bed, because the divine presence is above the head of the sick person. So Yosef bowed towards the divine presence. You probably want to know why Yaakov didn't want to be buried in Egypt. The first reason is because Yaakov feared the Egyptians would turn him into an idol. He knew that they worship idols, and he didn't want them to start worshiping him after his death. The second reason is because Yaakov saw through Ruach HaKodesh, divine inspiration, that Hashem would bring the plague of lice upon the land of Egypt, and he was afraid he would suffer. When Yaakov felt that the end was near, he called all his sons and wanted to bless them before he passed away. But before that, something special happened with his grandchildren. Efrayim and Manasseh, the sons of Yosef. Yaakov saw Efrayim and Manasseh and decided to bless them. But instead of placing his right hand on the head of Manasseh, the firstborn, he placed it on the head of the younger Efrayim. Yosef noticed this and wanted to correct his father. But Yaakov said, "I know what I'm doing. Efrayim will be greater than Manasseh, and righteous people will come from him. Yehoshua ben Nun will descend from him, and therefore he is worthy." Yaakov blessed them. "May God make you like Efrayim and Manasseh. May God bless you and watch over you. May God shine his face toward you and show you favor. May God be favorably disposed toward you, and may he grant you peace." This is the blessing given to children every Friday night. Before Yaakov parted from Yosef, he said to him, "My dear son, I have a city that I took from the Gentiles, and it is called Shechem. I want to give it to you as a gift. And also, take the special clothes of Adam, which have been passed down from one to another, and today they are with me. Keep them safe with you." And indeed, Yosef was buried in Shechem. Now, the exciting moment has arrived. Yaakov blesses all his sons, giving each one a special blessing that suits his character. About Yehuda, he said he is like a lion, strong, and a leader. About Yisahar, he said he's like a strong donkey, hardworking, but also knows how to rest. To Dun, he said that he is like a snake, wise and cunning. And to Binyamin, he said that he is like a brave wolf and a mighty warrior. After Yaakov finished blessing his sons, he turned to them and said, "My dear sons, I ask you not to learn from the deeds of the Egyptians who worship idols. Commit yourselves to love one another and not to quarrel, and do many acts of kindness." Yaakov added and said, "After my passing, do not let anyone touch my bed." As soon as Yaakov finished blessing the brothers, he lifted his feet onto the bed and lay down, and his soul passed to another world. Yosef wept, hugged, and kissed his father. From the moment our forefather Yaakov passed away, the blessing that was upon Egypt departed, so they mourned him for 70 days. The Egyptians, who greatly respected Yosef, helped him embalm his father's body. Embalming is a special way to preserve the body after death. Yosef approached the palace and asked Pharaoh for permission to go and bury his father. Pharaoh tried to persuade him to bury him in Egypt, but Yosef refused. Pharaoh sent with Yosef 43,000 chariots and 43,000 horsemen to accompany the coffin of Yaakov. They went to bury him in the land of Canaan. When they arrived at the cave of Machpelah, Esav heard about it and came out to meet them with many soldiers. Esav said to them, "Take Yaakov away from here. The remaining part is mine." So they said to Esav, "It's not true. You sold the cave to Yaakov." Esav said, "Show me the contract." Naphtali, who was swift like a gazelle, was sent to Egypt to bring the contract. Meanwhile, Hushim, the son of Dun, who was hard of hearing, asked why his grandfather's burial is being delayed, and by this delay, he is being dishonored. They explained to him that Esav is the one delaying Yaakov's burial. Hushim struck Esav hard and killed him. This allowed the burial to proceed. Yaakov was buried in the cave of Machpelah, next to Avraham, Sarah, Yitzchak, and Rivka. The Egyptians also came to honor Yaakov. When they returned to Egypt, the brothers began to worry. They said, "Maybe now that our father is not here, Yosef will want to take revenge on us for what we did to him." But Yosef reassured them and said, "Don't be afraid, I won't harm you." What happened was part of Hashem's plan to save us. Yosef continued to live in Egypt for many years, and when he felt he was about to die, he asked his family, "When you leave Egypt, take my bones with you to the land of Israel." Yosef passed away. The Egyptians threw his coffin into the Nile River. How will they fulfill the promise? What will happen with the Egyptians? We'll tell you in the next episode.